We are back in the building. I'm telling you, life is absolutely incredible. So people ask me all the time, every day, right? Why do you use the word amazing so much? Right? Because people ask me, like, how are you? And I always say, I am absolutely amazing. And I mean, seriously, I'm amazing. And people say, how can you be amazing? Simply because of the things that I know about life, that you only get one chance at it. And every day the clock ticks. And we have to ask ourselves the question, are we using time as our currency, or are we getting rid of it too fast? So I stay present. Checking in. What an incredible week. Team No Excuses, Ray Lewis Show. If this is your first time, buckle up. If you're used to coming back, you know what it is. We're going to drop some principles. I got a guest today that I can now finally reveal this, that a part of my inner me was taken away from me by joining this show. And I haven't been the same since. And I don't want to prolong because this guy is on a hike. I'm going to ask, what are you doing? I'm sure Snakes are where he is, so don't ever ask me to go on the hike. But I want to bring my guy on who done the show Beyond the Edge with me, the legend himself, one of the greatest defensive players ever to play in the NBA, Metta. What is going on, my brother?
Everything is great, man. Thanks for having me on your show, man. I was trying to make sure I was in a good spot because I was on a hike all day today. So just good service right here.
It's good service on your hike. This is my first question. Before we dive into anything, I'm sure you're hiking and there are snakes out there where you're hiking.
I'm pretty positive it's snakes and all sorts of things. So I'm pretty sure.
So if that's true, Metta, me and you, we just got through filming a show together in the jungle of Panama.
Yeah.
We was out there with snakes, monkeys, spiders, scorpions, all these things. And now you back out there in the jungle?
We're back out here, man. Luckily, it's like a trail. So sometimes the animals, they don't want to be around people, so, you just got to navigate it and try to stay on the trail. That's the key. Stay on the trail.
Right. Bro, listen. So I'm going to jump into the show right quick, right? Because we experienced something that was just absolutely incredible, crazy, right? And we don't want to expose the show. We want the show to expose itself, right? But bro, how hard was that?
Yeah, that show was crazy. Like, I mean, for one, the competition was incredible. You get there, we was there. The first thing we did when we got there, we were like, all right, cool, we're going to build our hut. And then we was like, oh no, we got to build this fire. And I think you might have been the first one to say, yo, we got to build this fire. I didn't know how important it was till that night, until how cold it was. And then like sleeping in a dark, pitch black, then, they're going to see tonight, they're going to see the storm. I don't want to reveal that, but that was just insane, man. It was really difficult.
So the question is, okay, I'm the guy calling you, and I'm calling you on your phone right now. Metta, I want to talk to you about doing this reality show. You're going to be in the jungle for 2 weeks. You're going to benefit a charity, but will you do it? What makes Metta come on the show Beyond the Edge?
Yo, you know what, man? Initially, I was like, nah, I'm not doing that show because I already know what it was. And I'm not a big fan of animals I can't control, But then I heard you was going, and, then they was like, the production was like, it's going to be okay. Yeah, it's going to be scary, but we got your back. So I said, okay. And Jody was going to be there. I said, all right, cool. I got some people I know, I can figure this out. But literally, I didn't know what I was getting into.
The first night when we were sitting up out there, and it's starting to get darker and darker, and I kept going to get some more wood to put on that fire.
Yeah, boy. You was like, this is how we keep it going. Got to keep blowing on it, nice and light, just blowing it a little bit.
hey, the one thing I said, this fire ain't going out tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, nature had another plan for us.
Well, it was a whole nother mindset, man. But would you agree that the people, the cast that we went out there with, that it was just a special connection? Did you feel that? Oh,
for sure. I mean, it was crazy how quick, like, we became dependent on each other, emotionally, physically. I mean, yeah, it was a show, but we really needed each other out there. It was crazy how quick we bonded. Like, it wasn't even 24 hours, and we was like dependent on each other.
Right. Yeah. And listen, bro. So I've been saying this right when I've been giving interviews, because it's almost like it's a metaphor for almost like where our world is at. Right. It's like we're dropped off in the jungle. The whole intention is to help somebody else by you just being there, and then you people that you've never met before. Some of them you've never met before, and now you have to live with them. You got to eat with them. You got to shower with them. You got to survive with them. Right? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're right, man. I mean, you're right, man. I mean, you hit it on the nose, and it just teaches us about like kind of how we were back then. I think that's maybe how humans survived, because back then you needed each other. When there was no buildings and and we're still here to this day. Now we got more tools to work with, but back then you really needed it. That probably was a good kind of idea on how it was.
But see, that's why I think the show, right, is so different than any other show, right? Because it actually, you have to depend on each other for just pure survival, right? Everybody had a job and we had to go do it individually. I want to transition into what made Metta one of the greatest defensive players ever.
I think probably what made me one of the greatest defensive players is probably I know I'll see them in a second. It's probably just not wanting to lose. I'm very similar to you. Like, you pretty much won on defense, and I always tell people defense is better than offense. I'm a defensive guy, and I tell people to this day, my defense is better than your offense. And
I'm winning. I'm winning.
And you proved that. I mean, you had a championship score. I mean, it was probably, I don't even know it. I think it was 17-10 or something like that. And that shows right there that defense could be better than offense. And I want to just put it on the even playing field. So my whole thing, I used to go into games and say, you know what? I'm not going to rebound. I'm not going to score. I'm going to get no stats. I'm going to be the best player on the floor just by disrupting, deflections, stops, not letting my man get a shot off. I'm not talking about making a miss. I'm talking about getting a shot off. I don't want you to get the shot off. And when I was in my prime, I was able to do that. Coaches, I had one game against a couple All-Stars where the point guard wouldn't even go to them. And I was like, it's just that mentality of, I had to play to my strengths. So, for example, I was guarding Michael Jordan one time in a shoot-around. I mean, in the summer league, summer games. And I had to deny him because when he catch the ball, he was going to score. Now, granted, he was older, but it was like, do anything you can, to get a stop, deny. And, I'm not as quick. I'm heavy. I'm 260. I'm guarding people to 220, 210. So I'm not as fast. So I got to deny different things like that. So I think the mentality came from like not being able to score early, but want to win, and I'm playing with guys. Sometimes I play with people that couldn't score. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Just keep losing. So I got to get more stops, just get more stops. And I really, something, it's really something I enjoy. I really enjoyed the effort, the hustle, and different things like that.
Bro, how big was I want to go back to a few people, but how big was your conditioning when it comes to a defensive player guarding the top players ever? What was your conditioning like?
In the summertime, like when I would practice, before I touch a ball, I would do defensive slides. My first 45 minutes was without a ball.
Wow.
And just working on my defense. I knew like I'm going up against Kobe. I'm going up against Tracy McGrady. And the only way I want to win a championship, and they ain't the way. So, I had to have super condition. I would work out 4 times a day. Work out. Kobe got in the gym really early. I got in the gym like 9, 10, but I worked out really late. Like I would be in the gym sometimes at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., sometimes like that. And just like running. And everything was like full court. Running, everything was full court. Nothing was like just half court, taking set shots. None of that stuff.
Bro, I'm not going to go past a legend that quickly. How hard was it to defend Kobe Bryant?
Kobe was incredible. Like Kobe really showed me the type of shape I was in. It was times where you guard Kobe, and RP my brother Kobe. It was times where you guard Kobe, I'd be exhausted. And he's not the quickest guy, the fastest guy, but he do everything right. So you give him any room, like he gonna hit a three, he gonna hit a fadeaway, he gonna do, whatever it takes. He can drive, he can finish, he can shoot free throws. So you can't even foul him. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he was extremely difficult to guard. I'd be exhausted, and it's crazy because if I gave him any inch, he'd get 50, 60. I think Kobe might have had 40 on me once. But the rest was like maybe 30s, sometimes 20s and stuff like that. But if I gave any inch, that was 60 points that night, easy.
Kobe Bryant was probably one of my all-time favorite basketball players, just to sit there and watch. Mentality.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, his mentality was absolutely out of control. I got to ask you this. 3 parts. The top 2 players of all time that gave you the biggest problems.
Top 2?
Top 2.
I would say LeBron and Kobe. LeBron and Kobe.
I mean, that's,
Yeah, those guys are pretty good. Yeah, those guys, man. I mean, it was a lot of other people that, it was sometimes, guys, kind of don't show up to play.
Yeah.
And then sometimes guys would be like, "Hey, man, take it easy on me today."
King James coming to play every game.
King James coming to play every game, man. He's probably been the most successful against me out of anybody I ever played against. His stats. His stats is showing that. His stats show that. And I had some good games against him. Yeah, he's been very, very consistent. Very, very consistent.
He is a problem, bro. I mean, his career. I marvel at his career, man, on how he's able to, even at this level, starting out as young as he did from high school and being able to survive. All right, look, I'm gonna let you get out of here, but give me at your position, all time, the top 2 players at your position of all time in the NBA.
Small forward. I'm gonna say.
You know what your position is, but I want you to tell me who is those guys.
I'm gonna say at my position, I'll say Larry Bird and LeBron James.
Wow.
Yeah, Larry Bird and LeBron James.
Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore.
For sure.
Bro, listen, man, I am so excited that we got some time to spend with each other. I really appreciate you jumping on, bro, because I'm gonna let you go, but I want you to give me this last piece, because for my next segment, I teach a thing about championship mentality, right? And today, I'm talking about making the right decisions. How important is it with a mentality like yours, one of the greatest defensive players of all time, to make the right decision?
Man, I think it's important. I remember you came to speak to us when I was with the Lakers. I remember you came and I asked you a question, and I said, how do you play, with so much emotion? Because you play with way more emotion than I play. But you was able to keep it like locked in. And I was always like, how do you do that? Like, how do you get so excited and then lead at the same time? You know what I'm saying? And when you came in, it was like a blessing, because I was at the end of my career, but it taught me a lot. And then to see you lead by example. You really lead by example. You know what I'm saying? And to do, it's so important to do the right thing, because you're just prepping for life, in general. Don't cheat drills. Don't cheat life. Take your kids on walks. Take your kids out. As athletes, sometimes it happens so fast. So we forget to do the parenting thing right. Yeah. We forget to do so many other things right. And, I learned so many lessons, for me, I learned so many lessons. I didn't do the right thing all the time. But now, kind of those lessons kind of teach you, so I think taking the time out, doing things right. I believe that, you're only bettering yourself. When you look 20 years down the line, you're going to be happy with yourself versus kind of regretting, second guessing, and, woulda, shoulda, coulda type thing.
Bro, it gets no better. If somebody called your phone right now and asked you to go on Beyond the Edge again, would you go?
If you there, but But I don't know, man. That was rough. Going back, knowing what we went into,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that many snakes was there, man. I don't know.
Listen, I created a new app. My app does not allow no reality shows to contact me. So I'm
Yo, I get it. Don't tell me the opportunity.
I love you so much, man. I
Love you too, man.
Coming on, champ.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Listen, I'm gonna share something with you guys, because being in the jungle and trying to be the leader and trying to figure everybody out, and we had like really strong and courageous women on this show. So it's like, how do we work together? How do we emotionally attach to each other to make sure that we're a team, even though we're competing? And honestly, when you ask the question, what's been going on, I think it's a metaphor for what our world needs, right? It's like we need hugs, like we need like the right criticism, right? Not just judging me because I said something. No, we need someone to understand why you said it and why you see it like that. And that's why checking in, going into championship mentality. I'm gonna be quick today. Coach is on vacation, enjoy itself, but championship mentality. Today, we're talking about making the right decisions. And we're gonna be quick here, but I want you to understand something. You cannot escape the consequences of your decisions. If somebody had told me this when I was younger, watch this. If somebody had told me this when I was younger, I would have been better. But because I need it today, I'm still trying to get better. You see, so it's not when you get the information, it's how you use it when you have it. And when you talk about not being able to escape the consequences, listen to this, right? The right decisions are always the hardest to make. Why? Because sometimes they hurt people's feelings, right? Sometimes they tell you that you can't do what you think you want to do, that you got to do something totally opposite. But one of the, and I want you to understand this about a decision. Most of us regret our decisions. And one of the two letters I'd say people should never live by, if I would have did this, if I would have did that. Oh, I made that decision, but if I would have, really? If I would have took the shot, if I didn't take the shot, if I would have dove at the tackle, if I did not take it, if I would have separated myself from the wrong people. Making the right decisions. You must understand this. Once you make the right decisions so that your past becomes easy to live with. That's what Metta was talking about. Being able to make the right decisions, learn from the wrong decisions, but make the right decisions. But I got to encourage you today, because I want to tell you to do something and don't apologize for doing it. I want you to make a decision that you know is best for you and don't look back, regardless of what somebody else thinks. Listen to this as I wrap up for the week. I want you to understand something. You know if you've made the right decision when you pick the hardest choice, but your heart is at peace. It's hard sometimes that you have to make these hard choices. And sometimes the hardest choice is simply saying no. As scary as that may sound. But when you do, your heart, the goal of life, whether you're young, old, whatever you want to call it, the goal in life is to get to a point to where your heart is at peace. This week, I want you to ask yourself, are the decisions you're making, because I'm asking myself, are the decisions that I'm making, that we're making, does it bring me peace? Does it give my heart a place to relax and rest and restore and renew and replenish and get ready to go back out there and go through the fight all over again. Sometimes it's the smartest decisions that can change your life forever. Forever. But I tell you this, if you got the right people, if you got the right vision, and if you got the right attitude, you found yourself on the path to a successful life. Don't ever change that. This week, I want you to watch people. Everybody's moving. But where are they heading? Your decisions this week is, when you move, not only why are you moving, but what decision have you made in your life? And does it bring peace to your heart? Making the right decisions, man. Nobody's perfect. Nobody. God says, I will give you the desires of your heart. The desires of your heart. But if you can't find peace in your heart, it will be hard for you to desire anything. This week, let's find love. Let's find peace. And let's change our path right now to start making tough decisions feel better because you did the right thing. God bless you. Thank you for joining us this week.